Good evening. Welcome to the Candidates Forum for the consolidated election to be held Tuesday, November 9th. Early voting has already started, so you can take advantage of that if you wish, but we certainly want to urge you to be sure to vote by April 9th. My name is Sally Egler. I'm Vice President of the McDonough County League of Women Voters. Tonight you will meet the remaining aldermanic candidates from Wards 2 and 5 and the 8 candidates vying for 4 seats on the Macomb Unit School Board 185. I hope you'll take advantage of being here to ask questions of these candidates. We have league members in the hall who will be sure to give you paper and pencil for that purpose. If you'll raise your hand, they will be sure to bring that material to you and then bring the questions to me to pass on to our moderator. The League's mission is to help educate and prepare voters for participation in the political process. We are nonprofit, nonpartisan, never endorse a particular candidate for elections. But you'll have an opportunity to meet these candidates after you meet our moderator, who will be introducing them to you. Rich Egger, News Director for WIUM Tri-States Public Radio. Welcome back, Rich.
Thank you. It's good to see you all tonight. Let's meet the candidates for alderman. 2 ward elections remain unresolved. The candidates from Ward 2 are Stephen Whalen and Kay Hill. Mr. Whalen is unable to be with us tonight. League rules prevent the remaining candidate from participating in any question-answer period, but as a courtesy, Kay Hill has been invited to make a brief presentation. So Kay, come on down.
Thank you. Well, this is another new experience. I am Kay Hill, currently the 2nd Ward Alderman. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the League of Women Voters, the high school student councils helping you, and Mr. Egger for conducting tonight's forum. It's an honor and a privilege to represent the citizens of Ward 2 in Macomb for the last 2 years, and I was humbled and honored when I was appointed by Mayor Inman to fulfill a vacated term that had been filled by Mr. Lavin, who ran for mayor. Macomb is my home. I was born and grew up here, moved away in high school, and came back. Have been a permanent resident since 1965. My husband Jack and I have been married for 55 years. We have 2 daughters, 9 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. We are homeowners. Before retirement, we had businesses in Macomb. My husband was a masonry and construction contractor, and for several years we had rental properties. I retired after 30 years with the Illinois State Police, and my career started as a clerk typist, an entry-level position. I'm proud of having the distinction of being the first civilian appointed in the Illinois State Police by the state of Illinois to be appointed as a district administrator in the Illinois State Police, previously a lieutenant's position. I've had responsibility and experience with budget, fiscal management, personnel supervision, insurance, procurement, and facility maintenance. I'm involved in many community organizations and affiliations. I'm running out of time. I volunteered and continue to volunteer. As a woman, I believe I bring a different perspective to the council, and many people have commented that they believe there should be a woman on the council and have encouraged me to run for this position. I believe my work experience, the experience and insight that I've gained in the council the last 2 years, and my vested interest in the community makes me the best candidate at this time for this position. So if elected, I will continue to advocate for our citizens, make decisions in the best interest of them and our city to the best of my abilities. In closing, I would just encourage everyone to take advantage of their privilege and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay Hill.
Thank you.
From the 5th Ward, Clay Hinderleiter and Tim Labdell are in a runoff election. Gentlemen, please be seated at the table behind your name card. And for the audience, if you have any questions for these men, please signal the league members who will provide paper and pen. I'll ask as many questions as time permits. The format for this part of the program will be to have each of these two men introduce themselves for 1 minute, and then each will respond to a few questions. And we'll begin with Mr. Hinderleiter.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the league, high school, student council, and all you media folks for being at this event. I think the attendance is a little better than last time, so that's appreciated. Been in and around Macomb since 1979, been a business owner since 1979, moved to Macomb in 1980. In a visit with my wife, Middle Earth, which is still out there, although I'm a junior partner in that right now. Retired from the Army in 1999. Retired as a full colonel, went in as a private. I think that's a fairly successful career. My son, have 2 children. My son has followed me in the Army. He's in Afghanistan as we speak. Got a call from him today in Kandahar. This is his 3rd go-around. My daughter's out in California. She couldn't find Mr. Wright in Macomb. I think I understand that. Been on the council now for 4 years. I think we're doing some good things. Absolutely believe in the gentleman we chose as mayor 2 years ago, Mike Inman. He has some vision, he has some experience, and I'd like to be part of that team for another term. Thank you.
Mr. Labdell.
Thank you, Rich, and thank you for hosting this tonight. To the league, the student council from Macomb High, WIU audio-visual services for filming this on Channel 15 for us. I came to Macomb as a student in 1984. Got involved in the community through the YMCA, teaching the kids. I was a youth sports coordinator there for many years. I moved up through the ranks, took over building services and maintenance responsibilities at the Y. Fell into an opportunity to own my own business. Bought Disc and Dat from a gentleman who had started that up here in town. Ran that for several years before technology caught up with the industry, unfortunately. I've had a unique opportunity to see many walks of life here in Macomb. I've dealt with low income, I've dealt with students, I've been a student, I've been a business owner. I understand the relationships that happen here in town. I certainly have the budgeting experience through business and my other management experiences. I've been on the council for 12 years. I've enjoyed every minute of it. Well, that's a lie, I'm sorry. It can get frustrating at times, but I really do enjoy what we do. I think we're trying to serve you in the best way possible, and I look forward to continuing to do that.
All right, if you could try to keep your answers to the questions to about 1 minute. The first question to you both is, what are the most important goals for the City Council to pursue? Tim?
For my part, I think the most important thing we can do and are expected to do is to provide the infrastructure and the public safety aspects of a community. My service on the Public Works Committee is something I've strived for from the very beginning. I have a strong belief in how we do projects. I think it's important to do quality projects that last. We had a habit of putting our finger in the latest hole in the dam years ago due to budgetary constraints. The voters were good enough to pass the sales tax infrastructure. I think we've used that wisely and are continuing to do so. On the public safety standpoint, We've got a great response time for both police and fire. We're very blessed to have that. I think we can continue those relationships going forward. And in my position on the Personnel Committee, I've got quite a bit of a hand in that as well through negotiating committees and personnel decisions.
Clay?
In addition to maintaining the infrastructure, as Tim talks about, and providing the services that the city does, I think in the future, the thing we need to look at is how we're going to renovate our image, our city, downtown, the Adams Street corridor. We went on a trip not too long ago to Rushville and to Jacksonville and to Quincy, and I learned a very valuable lesson. If you build it, they will come. And the renovations they've done down there are remarkable, and the way the community has accepted it, the way businesses have moved in to fill those occupancies, and that's our fervent hope and desire. And we want to connect the downtown with the university via the Adams Street corridor. So we have as with anything, we have a juggling act, maintaining the infrastructure that we have, providing the services we do, and developing a future that we can afford. That will be nice.
I believe you have different thoughts about how much money the city should contribute toward renovation of the courthouse dome. Can you talk about that a bit, Clay?
Yes, sir. Mr. Schwer, who's the chairman of the county board, came to us and told us about a project they had to renovate downtown, or renovate the courthouse, and that they had gotten a grant from the state. They were going to match it dollar for dollar, and they actually were asking us if we would be willing to contribute the difference. That difference amounted to $35,000. At the time he came to ask my committee, we were going through the budget preparing for the following year, and we didn't have an answer for him there. And we told him that we don't have an answer for him. At some point in time, we knew this was still out there, so I deferred to the entire committee of the whole, the entire council. When he made his presentation the other night, it went from a $95,000 project to a $105,000 project. So they still have their grant of $30,000 from the state, which left a balance of $75,000. If we chipped in $35,000, that means they're chipping in the other $40,000. It's a central part to our downtown, to our history. So that was the initial recommendation. Another alderman picked that up. I seconded it, and that's where we are.
Tim?
Well, I'm not really sure that we have a difference of opinion on that. I was the one that made the original motion to get the dollar amount, or a dollar amount on the floor. So I had no problem with the $30,000. I had no problem with the proposed $35,000. But I do believe the courthouse, while it's most integral to our downtown as a county building, it does have value to the county as a whole, and I stated that night that perhaps other communities should be approached as well. We're all in this together regionally. If we're going to be successful, we have to work with our other communities, not only in our county, but throughout our travel corridors. I think it's very important for job creation, economic development in general, that we all work together and try and create the best economy possible for our region.
In light of the controversy following the announcement of the results from the February election in Ward 2, what do you recommend for avoiding this type of situation in the future? Tim?
Well, the mayor, when he informed us individually of what his response was going to be, took the opportunity to sit with us individually, and I stated at the time that we need to clarify going forward. Obviously, this has happened. I don't believe any of us are happy about the interpretation. It is what it is. It's not our decision to make, and it is now being debated legally. So that process does have to play out. But going forward, we do need to clarify what our intent is in our February election. Logically speaking, I think it was intended to be a two-person race is going to be decided, and a race that has 3 or more people. That's where the 50% plus 1 concept came in. But we do need to clarify exactly and precisely how that's going to play out in these circumstances.
Clay?
Nobody's happy about what happened. The last forum we had, I remember you standing there talking about the 50% plus one rule. And I have known about that ever since I've been observing city politics since 1999. It's not new. Having said that, 4 years ago, when I ran unopposed, we spent $10,000, $12,000 to have that election, and I think a solution that's being bandied about is to eliminate the February election, go to a general election in April, and if there are multiple candidates, top vote getter wins. That is, I think that's a solution that we're looking at this point in time.
Rich, are we going to have a rebuttal session at all?
You're welcome to debate back and forth if you'd like to a little bit on this.
That's all right.
Sure.
I understand the impetus for wanting to go forward with that, but there are advantages to having a February standalone election. As a nonpartisan body, there are special rules that would have to be carved out, and they can be accommodated for an April-only election. I understand that. But there are opportunities for the city to put issues before the voters, such as the sales tax referendum, that is specific to the city. I think it's fair to say that all people understand when they go into the election booth, they might not be up to date on everything that's happening on that ballot, whether it's the county the county sales tax referendum, whether it's which judge is running against another judge. We don't all have all the information when we walk into that booth. So I think it's important for us to at least consider the impact that could have on important decisions that need to be made. We have a swimming pool issue that's out there. We have other issues that are out there that could still be decided strictly by city voters and not have a muddying effect on people who aren't interested in city politics.
Clay, would you like to add something?
Yes, and to a point, I will agree with everything Tim said. However, when you look at the voter statistics in this city, over the last 8, 10, 12 years, the numbers are going down, all right? This last election was 4.47%. I understand there was a storm out there, but that costs us. It costs money. And there's this thing called weary voters. We had a November election, we have a February election, we have an April election. I think people are getting electioned out. So that's just another viewpoint.
What will the city need to do in coming years to keep its budget balanced? Are cuts likely, or can revenue be increased, or some combination of the two? Clay?
All the above. I have said it once or twice in closed session that my crystal ball looks like a bowling ball when it comes to budgetary issues. Until the business climate, the economy is improved, and the business climate locally and regionally is improved, we're not going to get all the sales tax dollars we'd like to have. I don't think we're going to get much more money from the state than we are. Don't think we're going to get much more money from the federal sector than we are. We grapple with things just about every month on budgetary issues, and we tend to overplan the budget and under-execute the budget, which means we don't spend everything that we allocate, which has worked for us for the last 4 years in the council. So there is no magic solution, no crystal ball, but it's just this is one of those things we just have to keep our nose to the grindstone and make priorities.
Tim?
Hard to argue with much of what Clay said, and I'm not here to argue with any of it. We do clearly have a difference of opinion on what our financial shape is. Having been on the city for 12 years, I've seen a great deal of attrition. I've seen a great deal of budget maneuvering, legitimate though it is, to shift expenses to our enterprise funds, to move money in a way that pays for the services that we provide and still employs people, because quite honestly, folks, we're at a point where the services we provide require a certain number of people to give it to you. And we really can't go staff-wise any lower without starting to consider service cuts as well. We went through quite a stretch there where we had some significant water and sewer increases. We're trying to back that off now and moderate that a little more because we understand times are tight for everybody. We're in the same boat. And I would go one step further and say that, that's why you should be out and vote. Even in a city-only election, we have a great deal of control over the amount of money that comes out of your pocket, and you should exercise that right.
It's time for closing statements. We'll start with Tim.